Scene from Mr. Schultzen's classes in Hurricane, Utah, to Mrs. Elder's class in Fort Wayne, Indiana, to Mr. Casorio's classes in Canton, Connecticut. This is CNN Student News. First up, a debate on the economic stimulus bill as the U.S. Senate weighs in on the legislation. The goal of this plan is to help the struggling U.S. economy, but Republicans and Democrats are at odds on the best ways to do that. Specifically, how should government money be spent and how much of it should be spent? Right now, the cost of the bill is approaching $1 trillion. Christine Romans puts this number into perspective.
A little gut check on just how big $1 trillion is. It's got 12 zeros. That's easy to understand. Or think of it this way, 1 trillion $1 bills stacked high would reach nearly 68,000 miles into space, 1/3 of the way to the moon. Republicans are hardly over the moon.
If you started spending the day that Jesus was born and you spent $1 million every single day, you still wouldn't have spent $1 trillion.
We checked the senator's numbers with noted mathematician John Allen Paulos.
$1 million a day for 2,000 years is only about $750 billion. It's a big number no matter how you slice it.
So let's slice it another way.
1 million seconds is about 11.5 days. 1 billion seconds is about 32 years, and 1 trillion seconds is 32,000 years. People tend to lump them together, perhaps because they rhyme.
Million, billion, the national debt tops 10 trillion after a $700 billion bank rescue and proposed $800 billion stimulus. Are we numb?
Number itself can be parsed number or number, and maybe in this case the latter is a better pronunciation.
$1 million!
Just like Dr. Evil discovered in the movie Austin Powers, times have changed. Back in 1993,
an immediate package of jobs investments of over $30 billion.
He didn't get it. Just last year,
so the whole purpose of a stimulus package is to have something robust enough to make a difference.
President Bush signed emergency economic stimulus of a now paltry $168 billion. And now,
$1 trillion.
Can we afford it?
The gross national product is, $12 trillion, whatever it is. We do have a big economy that may not be as vibrant as it was, but it's still a powerful economic engine. So, knock on wood, we'll see what happens.
Time for some fast facts. The Taliban are a Muslim fundamentalist group that controlled a large part of Afghanistan between 1996 and 2001. They were criticized for the harsh way in which they ruled, and they were punished by the United Nations for creating thousands of refugees. The Taliban allowed terrorist mastermind Osama bin Laden to stay in Afghanistan as a guest. After refusing to hand him over to the U.S. after the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, the Taliban were attacked and ousted from Afghan rule.
They were thrown out of power, but the Taliban are still around in Afghanistan and causing problems for the country's government. It's a similar situation in neighboring Pakistan. Taliban forces are clashing with the government there too. And the group's influence, especially that harsh rule, is spreading through parts of Pakistan. Reza Sayeh explores the effect on daily life.
Pakistani music. It used to blare from inside Badr Ustad's bus. But today, all you hear in Badr's bus is passenger chatter. The music silenced by this letter he says was signed by the Taliban.
All these things have been done away with. Since the letter came, we've finished off the tapes.
The letter is a Taliban warning to bus drivers in Mardan, a city in northwestern Pakistan. Remove all radios, TVs, and VCRs from your buses. Within days and without protest, Mardan's bus drivers followed the Taliban's orders.
Our union met, and we told all the car drivers to put an end to all the TVs and VCRs. We told them all these TVs and VCRs, put an end to it right away.
They think that music is un-Islamic.
Political analyst Hamid Guri says the swift silencing of music on Mardan's buses show the Taliban's sway is slowly spreading east from Pakistan's ungoverned tribal region to settled areas like Mardan.
The consequences are very serious if they sort of expand their operations and they become cause a big problem. So it is very obvious.
Perhaps nowhere are the problems more obvious than in Swat Valley, once a popular tourist destination, now in the clutches of a ruthless Taliban regime that's targeted girls' schools, banned teenage girls from getting an education, and imposed what they call a strict version of Islamic law. Tens of thousands of residents have fled the Taliban's brutal regime. Authorities say police have run away too. Pakistanis are calling on the government to do more.
We are finding a way out, and we don't want to disclose the strategy prior to what we have planned.
For now, in the Swat Valley and inside the buses of Mardan, it's the Taliban's law that reigns supreme, and Badr Ustad knows the danger of ignoring it. For him, silencing the music was an easy choice.
Now that we've completely removed them, we're happy.
Reza Saya, CNN, Islamabad.
Time for the shout-out. According to a famous saying, necessity is the mother of what? If you think you know it, shout it out. Is it innovation, justification, invention, or dissection? You've got 3 seconds. Go! Necessity is the mother of invention, according to the famous philosopher Plato. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
Well, a group of Michigan students is in the running for a National Engineering Award thanks to its recent invention. And just as Plato predicted, it was inspired by need. You see, this group identified a challenge facing one of its teachers and created a solution as part of a class project. Valerie Lego of affiliate WZZM in Grand Rapids constructs the details.
Mike Martin is a religion teacher at Grand Rapids Catholic Central, and he types every day, from creating assignments to grading papers. And until recently, he did it all with just one hand.
I've always felt it's not what you lose, but what you've got left that counts.
Mike Martin lost his left hand in a punch press accident 40 years ago. He adapted, but admits typing is a chore.
Well, we all had him, so we know what issues he struggled with most, and the biggest thing was typing.
So when these 10 senior engineering students at CC were given the assignment to design a device for people with disabilities, they immediately thought of Mr. Martin.
And they decided that they wanted to help someone they knew.
Janine Gasper is the pre-engineering instructor who guided these students through the design process until they eventually came up with this, the handy typer.
We have a rubber cup that the hand comfortably fits into. It also has padding on the inside. And there are these 2 bars for stability.
Custom fit for Mr. Martin.
It would save me at least an hour a day.
But that's not all it does. You see, Mike Martin was left-handed before his accident.
But I can imagine that it will be like my old left hand again.
And it seems in the process of completing a school project, something else happened.
Education, teaching, schools are more than just teaching of lessons. It's a relationship.
They all learned that one of life's greatest lessons can be taught in a classroom.
Turning to our blog, where a lot of you are talking about Michael Phelps. Gus writes, I think this presents an interesting question about the true underlying nature of people we hail as national heroes and slap onto boxes of Wheaties. Because someone excels at sports, that does not make him a morally good person. A lot of you, like Marcel, are saying everyone makes mistakes. Phelps is a really good athlete, and as long as he won't do it again, everything's okay. From Emmy, over the summer, Michael Phelps did everything with determination and skill, an example to us all. Hearing this, now I'm not so sure. Olivia thinks they should punish him like they do everybody else. Just because he's famous doesn't mean he should get special treatment. To see the story and comment yourself, check the blog at cnnstudentnews.com. Before we go, manatee insanity in parts of southern Florida. About 100 of these suckers showed up recently at a power plant in the Sunshine State. The sea cows need warm water to survive, so they migrate to spots like this in the winter. That is because when the plant is finished with the water it uses for its cooling system, it kicks out slightly warmer water than before. So basically, this is kind of like a manatee hot tub. Having to share a hot tub with 100 other people? Oh, the humanity. Woo! This show is all washed up. We'll see you again tomorrow.